ladies and gentlemen, you know what that means. I hope you know what that means, because it usually means it's time for a show. And by God, I'm here. I got my portal all opened. That didn't sound right at all. Oh, God, that sounded horrible. I got the portal started. Maybe that's better. Hello, Mercedes. How you doing? Good to see you. Ladies and gentlemen, I was a guest yesterday. Last evening on Mercedes' paranormal show. Everything Unexplained, I think is the name of it. And it was a lot of fun. We had a great discussion, and I'm not sure when that'll be. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. You're right. It was bad. No, the appearance on Mercedes' show was good. My opening to this show was bad, especially if I can pull that hair out of my eyeball. But welcome everybody. It's hump day. It's Wednesday, as is always a good thing. And I am just thrilled to be here with you guys as, we all celebrate this day. This is the downslide, the downhill slide towards the weekend. You got 3 days of your work week out of the way, unless you work weekends and you have weird days off. Then I can't help you. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to celebrate your midweek, but you can celebrate with us or just wait and watch this on your midweek day. Either way. But in any case, it is, whoa, T-Bone rolled in, gifting 5 memberships. Wow, T-Bone. Way to roll, brother. Appreciate it. It's just raining memberships up in here. Who got memberships here? So it looks like Mike Hunt, I'm going to pronounce that very carefully, got a free membership. H. Christian got a free membership. Chris Carlson got a free membership. Stephen Weishaupt has a free membership, as well as Anastasia. Welcome to all of you guys. Thank you for accepting this fine membership. Hopefully you'll find merit and value in it, and you'll become regular members of the portal here on our YouTube memberships. Of course, if you're not a member of YouTube memberships and you want to become a member, I do have a Patreon now. I started a Patreon, ladies and gentlemen, and you'll have to refer to my social media for the link. I don't know, the link isn't really easy. It's like user equals and then a bunch of numbers. So I don't know why they don't give me just a URL. Maybe they do eventually, but they haven't yet. So for now, it's that. And just look at my social media. I announced it on Facebook. If you're interested in potentially being a member of the Patreon, there's one video out there that you may never have seen before, and there will be more. I've got a few video projects I'm working on, and I will put those up on the Patreon as well. But I'm trying to continue to raise value in the shows you guys have seen or can see, and make membership more of an attractive option if that's possible for you. But of course, don't worry, there'll always be plenty of free content for those of you that aren't able to make that commitment, and that's fine. But I do appreciate those of you that can. I do appreciate that there are plenty of us that can't. I mean, I'm not a membership of anything personally, but I'm just watching the chat flying in, explaining the unexplainable. Mercedes put a link in there if anybody wants to check it out. This is a tongue twister, but here's the link to last night's show with Brent Thomas. So there you go. You can check it out. It was a fun time. Had a great time with her and brother Josh talking about all things paranormal and a bunch of my experiences. We talked about ideas and had a great time. So chat is so off the charts. Ike says, well, thank you. I can't take credit for that, but I'm glad you think so. I'm absolutely in love with our chat here on the show too. You guys have developed this amazing community around my show, and I so much appreciate it. You guys make this place special, so thank you for that. Aussie Tiger's here. John Stevenson is here. He said 2 things quickly, so I read both of his names. I Like Ike is here. Karen Alberding, T-Bone, Happy Dog Lady are all here. Owl 13 is here. Josh Casto is here. Good to see ya. Annie Manul is here. T-Bone is still here. Said you again. That's just how I roll. Rachel Gets It Right is here. Chucky Danger is here. Annie Manul was the first one through the door as soon as I got the stream set up. So that's really cool. And Maggie M10 is here. Good to see you, Maggie, and everybody. I'm just scrolling up to see what I've missed or who I've missed. Happy Dog Lady is here. Welcome. Great to see you. Aussie Tiger. I think I said Aussie already, but I said you again in case I didn't. It's just my head is just like a revolving door. Things go in and go right back out. My retention is kind of limited. Edith Gomez is here. Hello, Edith. Hello from Texas, Edith says. Well, hello to you. Thanks for coming in, Edith, and being a part of the show. Who have I missed? Let's see. Again, Mercedes is over on Facebook checking it out. Thank you, Mercedes, for reporting in from Facebook. It's good to know that it's working. As always, I'm just looking for any names I might have missed from the ones I do remember, but I think that's largely it, right? Have I missed anybody else? I'm just scrolling. Keep that mouse a-scrolling. Keep those names a-scrolling right. Sorry. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's everybody that I've seen so far. Let me go down and check the newest chat again to see what I missed. Vince Sanchez came in. Good to see you. He says, hey, Brent. Well, hello to you, sir. Lenda is here. Good to see you, Lenda. And over on the Rumble, I've got Barbara Moore over there. The lovely Barbara. Car Juice is over there, too. Great to see you. As is Big D, 1955. So great to see all you guys over on Rumble. And hello to Twitch and X. And, of course, anyone else on Facebook that might be watching. You don't have to chat to be involved. But you're welcome to kick back and relax and hopefully enjoy the journey wherever the hell it ends up going. And I can't claim to know where it's going. These shows are absolutely unrehearsed and unscripted. Eric Fry came in, though. Good to see you, Eric. Great to have you here. We have a lot to get to. Obviously, it's Wednesday, so we've got several days of news that we can tap from, and I've got a few news stories we'll hit. We're going to go back to the article about the paranormal events from Thought Catalog. There's a whole bunch more of those, and those have been fun. I've enjoyed going through those little quick stories with you guys, the Reddit scrape articles. Those are a blast. I really enjoy those. So I have one from Rachel that she recommended. And if any of you find those kind of Reddit scrape articles, those ones with little clip stories from people, those are great on the shows. I really enjoy those. So if you do find some, feel free to send me a link to them. If you're not on the Discord, you can certainly do it through Discord. Send me a direct message there. Or you can email me at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. And I'm happy to get those because they're a lot of fun to go through. And they have a lot of great information. Flip Dizzy's rolling in with $4. Thank you so much. Came in with a super sticker. Outstanding, Flip Dizzy's. Thank you. Still love your name. I think it's a cool name. Sounds like a really cool burger joint or something, or a bar, a sports bar. Flip Dizzy's. Head over there and watch the game. I don't know. It's just a really cool name. I like Flip Dizzy. Flip Dizzy's. I don't know that I ever got the story about what that name was about. Where did that come from? If you can, let me know in the chat, Flip Dizzy's. I'll try to watch for it. Happy Dog Ladies, grown plants. Good. The spiders usually come with plants, for what it's worth. I love spiders. I really do. I just don't want like brown recluses or anything like that. But I like those little jumpy ones. Those jumping spiders to me are just adorable. Hey, Cool Hand, good to see you coming in. Came in with the capital. Hi, Brent. That's quite an entrance, sir. Thank you. Well, let's get to more. Sinfully Wicked came in too. Hello, Sinfully Wicked. Wonderful to see you as well. All right. We are going to get to the news and dive into this. I will continue to shout out people as I notice you're in here. So I'm sorry if I have missed anybody. I try to catch everybody that I can, but, I'm only human. Yeah, those jumping spiders are cute. There's somebody on Facebook that does these. They have a bunch of these jumping spider pets, and they're the bigger ones, not the little. Like here, we got those little mini ones. They're really hard to see, but they're still cute and adorable. But There's bigger ones I think I'm not sure where they're from. I think they might be Europe, but wherever they get quite a bit bigger than a lot of the ones here in America. But they're just so cute, and the lady has given them, like, she narrates their stories, their dialogue back and forth, and it's adorable. It's really adorable. She gives these little spiders like little baby kid voices. It's really fun. I don't know. Maybe I'm easily amused, but if you guys have seen those, let me know. I think they're hilarious. They're really cute. She did a great job. So let's get to the news and see whatever the hell else we're going to get into as the night goes on. Remember, you guys are my co-host tonight, so if there's something you want to say or a question you want to ask or something you'd like to discuss, please capitalize it. Capitalize all the letters so it really jumps out at me. That makes it easier. It's double tough to read a bunch of articles, navigate all the screens, watch the the meters, how we're doing and all of that, as well as look for comments. So I'm doing the best I can. If I miss any, I do apologize. I'll have to find out. I've never seen that. Yeah, if I can't remember the lady's name, but she just does such a fun series of videos of her raising these little jumping spiders, and they're so adorable. I don't know. I just shared another video. It was really cool. Like, some people, like, every pet I've ever had could literally not give a crap about TV. I mean, the TV's, no matter what size TV, if there's TV on, they're just not even interested. But some people, and my mom had a dog that was like this. She had a Maltese, and that dog loved to watch the Kennel Club shows, like the show dogs and stuff. And it would sit there in front of the TV and watch the TV as all the dogs would run through their obstacles and stuff. And it was like, wow, that dog's really watching TV. But I've got this other video, and so far the clips that I've seen, there's two of them. But one is this dog, and it looks like an Australian Shepherd or whatever. And it's sitting there watching a movie, and I can't remember the name of the movie. It's Call of the Wild or something. But it just freaks out when the grizzly bear comes, and it's sitting there looking at the TV and barking, and the grizzly's going after this guy, and that dog is it's got like a stuffed teddy bear, and it's sitting there shaking it like, arr, arr, like it's trying to get involved in the story that it's seeing on TV, and then it charges the screen barking and stuff, and backs off and charges it and barks. And then, and it's like this dog is absolutely invested in what it's seeing. It's watching this movie. And then there's another clip by the same people, because it's the same dog in the same setting, where this dog is watching Jurassic Park, the first one, where the raptor is about to go after the kids in the kitchen. And that dog's chewing on a dinosaur, and he's just like, I think that's amazing that some pets are able to do that. They're able to, like, see it. My pets couldn't care less. They really are absolutely uninvested in anything on TVs. And I don't know why, if there's something wrong with mine or if there's something wrong with these other people's animals that they do. But I think it's amazing. And I don't know, are we witnessing an evolution in the intelligence of these animals that they're starting to watch TV? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if anybody's even paying attention to me, but I think it's interesting. I think it's really cool. So anyway, I promised you news, and by God, I'm going to deliver. I'm going to give you some news. So, buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the news. Taco Violator. Good to see you, buddy. I thought you forgot where we were. Good to have you here. You damn right you ain't gonna forget Taco, because I will look for you over on Hometown Ghost Stories and find you. I will come and find you over there. All right, I know where to find you when you're not in your desk here at the show. So just know I'm gonna come looking for you next time as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News. Hello, Jason Finch. Good to see you, buddy. And this is your home for all the important news you could probably ever need. Actually, don't. Most of it's not very important, and maybe it's not even very interesting, but I love it. I love the news, and I love going through the news with you guys. So throughout the course of this show, we go through a lot of different sites. We use a lot of different sites, and I can only ask you guys, please support these sites. Please visit them. Please give them your love, because your love equals traffic, which equals revenue for them as you view ads and stuff visiting their sites. That keeps the lights on. I know a lot of people are like, oh, there's more ads, but it takes quite an investment to put out a website. It really does. To host a website that gets any kind of traffic, it's an investment. You've got to be willing to part with some cash if you want to put out a good show. And so they need to stay on. They need to keep going, because I love these sites. I truly do. They are just really incredibly well done. So all of the sites that you hear us go through on the show, please visit them. Please give them your love, give them your attention. If you message on their message boards, let them know the Paranormal Portal sent you. Just saying. Just let them know that I'm representing them as best as I know how. So the first story for the news is coming from an incredible site that we utilize all the time here on the Paranormal Portal News. And this site is unexplained-mysteries.com. And I love this site. I can't tell you how, I mean, obviously, if you guys have been around for a while, you know that I love this site because I use it every show. It is so well done, so current, so up to date, and it's incredible. So let's see. This one is kind of long, though. Jesus, this one's pretty long. Never mind. We're not reading that one. That one's way too long. Sorry. It'll take like an extra long news story or news episode or segment in order to read it. So we're skipping that first one. It was wordy anyway. Let's check out the next one, though. Here we go. Again, getting back to like the Raiders of the Lost Ark and stuff. We talked about it a little bit when it said we covered an article where the CIA apparently knows where the Ark of the Covenant is. Well, not exactly. They just know that remote viewers told them it was in the Middle East somewhere, which I guess narrows it down a bit, but that's still a huge area. There's a lot of area in the Middle East, and I don't think that that's probably descriptive enough, but maybe it's out there. But there is no question that the governments of the world, and I don't think this is just our government, but the governments of the world are interested in finding these relics. Like, perhaps they are interested in researching if these relics do indeed have power or something, if there's something to be gleaned from them. And, the scary version is it because they're looking for new weapons? Well, I mean, I suppose that probably drove a lot of them to go look for like the Ark of the Covenant, because that was whoever held the Ark in battle would not be defeated, could not be defeated. So maybe that was the motivation behind some of it. Maybe with knowledge comes power. I don't know. But the CIA seems to have been involved in a lot of treasure hunting, as has other governments, like the Nazis were well known for it. During World War II, they were looking for a lot of these ancient relics and stuff. And so whatever the case is, they're looking, but this story should come to no surprise of anybody who's realized that they've been looking. But here you go, from unexplained-mysteries.com comes our first story, and here it is. The CIA spent years covertly searching for Noah's Ark. There you go. I maybe they're people of faith. Maybe that's what kind of spurned it. Maybe it's not so nefarious, but what do you think? I don't know. I'm not saying they're all evil or anything. I don't think that that's necessarily the case, but what did they want to know for? Well, let's check out this article anyway. A declassified 4-page CIA document contains details of the agency's efforts to find the biblical vessel. The story of Noah and the Great Flood needs no introduction, but the final whereabouts of the ark itself, if it even existed at all, continue to remain a topic of heated debate. Now, according to declassified files, high-ranking members of the U.S. government once had a keen and somewhat inexplicable interest in locating the biblical vessel and tasked the CIA, with tracking it down. One 4-page document entitled Report RE, Noah's Ark, notes how the CIA had actively investigated the infamous Duruprenar Formation site in Turkey, which for years has been rumored to be the petrified remains of the Ark itself. DCI William Colby, who headed up the CIA from 1973 to 76, received orders to investigate the site from Lieutenant Colonel Walter Brown of the U.S. Air Force, who was himself on a mission to determine whether any evidence of the Ark could be found. Spy satellites and even U-2 spy plane were used to probe the site for clues. It was later reported that the photographs had yielded negative results. And I don't know that that means negative results as in this is definitely not the site, or it didn't give them any evidence that it was. Things didn't end there, though, however, as over the next 8 years, there were multiple additional requests for information about the search for Noah's Ark from members of Congress, DCI intelligence community staff, and even a former astronaut. On each occasion, the CIA had responded by stating that no evidence of the vessel had been found. Exactly why so many government officials were interested in finding Noah's Ark, however, remains unclear. Yeah, it really does. I mean, it seems rather curious, right? Why the Ark? I don't think that was ever regarded as a weapon or anything like that, but maybe they were just looking for evidence that the stories in the Bible were accurate. Maybe that was one of their benchmarks. Well, if we can find the Noah's Ark place, then we'll know that this is actually a historical register of sorts. Yeah, I don't know. Anybody's guess, but there you go. I don't know. The staff of Moses is something Templar may have found. Matthew Learned says, then all of a sudden, from the blue sky, there was a single dark cloud and lightning strikes, so he took it as a sign to stop. Well, I don't know what this means, Matthew. Where is this coming from? Where is this story coming from that you're referencing? I've not heard of it before, but maybe. I don't know. I have no question or no answers for that, but at any rate, there you go. That's the first story. Apparently the CIA and government was interested in whether or not that. I mean, you look at that picture, that looks like what I would assume an ark that was on top of a mountain marooned would look like. But I don't know how they yielded negative results from it. I have no idea. It's very curious, though. But there you have it. That's the first article. Lots of questions, no answers, but we enjoy the journey. That's what the paranormal is all about. So let's get to the next article here on the news, ladies and gentlemen. This one is the world of the bizarre. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad thing to do. I've seen something like this advertised, I think on Temu, and I don't know. Maybe what they're advertising on Temu is not an actual specimen of all of these things. And I'm being evasive a little bit because I'm not trying to give away the article, but from the world of bizarre on unexplained-mysteries.com comes this article. Man faces prison after trying to collect all of the elements on the periodic table. I wonder why. Maybe because some of them are radioactive. Maybe that's why. I don't know. That's very curious. Anyway, let's check it out. There's a cool point-click and video game called Broken Sword. Watching a gameplay through on YouTube is quite entertaining and educational. Well, thanks, Rachel. Very interesting. All right, let's check this out. What's going on? A man from Australia could serve 10 years in prison due to his efforts to acquire some rather questionable materials. When it comes to collecting things as a hobby, most people will typically opt for postage stamps, coins, trading cards, or other similar things. None of these was ever going to be sufficient for 24-year-old Australian Emmanuel Liddon, however, who decided instead He was going to collect a sample of every single element on the periodic table, even the dangerous ones. There you go. That explains it. Perhaps inevitably, he ended up being arrested by police during a major raid on his house after he attempted to ship radioactive plutonium into the country to add it to his collection. Yeah, you might want to check on the laws regarding importing radioactive materials into whatever country you live, because generally speaking, that's probably going to wave a few red flags. The ensuing court case has since made headline news, with Liddon's lawyer, John Sutton, arguing that the young man was simply a science nerd who had not intended to cause any harm. Well, that's good. He hadn't even tried to hide his name on the parcel when he ordered the plutonium from overseas. Who the hell was going to ship him that? He did not import or possess these items with any sinister intent. These were offenses committed out of pure naivety, said Sutton. It was a manifestation of self-soothing, retreating into collection. It could have been anything, but in this case, he latched onto a collection of the periodic table. Well, you got that going for you. The level of the response was a massive overreaction given what the investigative authority already knew, rather than give him the opportunity to just return the items the kitchen sink was thrown at him, along with the utensils inside. Liddon, who will be sentenced later this month, now faces up to 10 years in prison. 10 years for wanting to make a realistic periodic table of elements. There is, I mean, you can go on like Temu and find those. I suspect that clearly not all of the materials would be legitimate that are in the Temu one, but there you have it. I don't know. Be careful what your hobbies are, folks. If it involves radioactive material, maybe a different hobby. Maybe a different hobbies in order there. I don't know, but that's that guy's story. Sucks to be him, I guess, but you might want to look into like international law and stuff on trying to import radioactive materials. Just saying. A little bit of planning. That's all it would take. How do you return plutonium? I don't know. It's a good question, Annie. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if wherever it came from wants it back. to be honest with you. Hey, what do we do with all this Fukushima stuff? I know. The snapping of plastic filled the air. There you go. All right. Well, there you go. That's the first two stories. Turns out I only have one more because that one was so long. I couldn't read that one. What is this one? Oh, this one's another long one. Damn. Now my computer's lagging. Sorry. Got to wait for it. Wait for it to catch up with us. There it goes. Yeah, this one's way too long too. What the hell was I thinking? Should actually check these out before I start a show. Let me just look and see what else we can pull up quick for a third story. Or maybe we'll just end it there. I don't know. Waiting for my computer again. Can't wait for the new computer. Yeah, I've run into problems with the new computer. Not that the only problem is that, let's just wait. How about that? The only problem is that I'm trying to transfer hundreds of files with the thumb drive, unfortunately. I could have cloned the drive just over to the new drive, and I was like, I'll just do it with the thumb drive. And then I started digging into it going, oh, God, I need so many files, but I'd already finished doing what I was doing. So there you have it. Let's see if there's one more. Is this one? No, that one's the long one. That was the long one. Is there one more? Oh, here we go. All right. What the hell is that, though? That one looks interesting, but I'll wait on that one. Let's do this one. Sorry, I had to do it. I had to do it live. That's my process before the shows is, well, that one looks good. Let's do that one. You're getting a little sneak peek behind the scenes here on tonight's show. All right. Waiting for my computer. Sorry. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, but that's the way it works. And wait for all the lag to leave the system, and so I can drag this over. We'll go with this one. It can't be that long, can it? Can't be really, right? No, this one's nice and short. I don't think I like this, though. I don't like that this is being done. This to me is very frightening, but it's being done kind of continuously. Tennessee, Kentucky, Bigfoot, welcome. Good to see you. It's nice to have you in the house. Thanks for coming in. Let's check out this one. This is the last news story tonight from unexplained-mysteries.com. Ladies and gentlemen, this one is... Pause for effect. Oh, my button quit working. Oh, you dick. All right, let me go. Oh, no, it did. It worked. No, it didn't. Did it? No, it didn't. All right. The screen refreshed with the ads finally. So that happened, but I still got to do this. Let's do this. All right, scientists resurrect algae that's been dormant for nearly 7,000 years. Did we need more? Was there something wrong with the algae we already had that we needed 7,000-year-old algae, or what? What's the purpose of this? Well, let's find out. In a remarkable achievement, okay, great. In a remarkable achievement, the algae was brought back to life as though nothing had happened to it. Retrieved from sediment samples taken from 250 feet beneath the bottom of the Baltic Sea, the algae, which had remained in a state of dormancy for 7,000 years, was recently the subject of a groundbreaking new study by an international team of researchers. Although the algae, in this case a type of phytoplankton, had been dormant for all this time, it wasn't actually dead. Instead, it had entered into a sleep state with significantly reduced metabolic activity. What does algae dream of? I wonder. I'm going to be a plant. By bringing it back to life, the scientists were able to create a living snapshot of ancient Baltic Sea ecology. Such deposits are like a time capsule containing valuable information about the past ecosystems and the inhabiting biological communities, their population development and genetic changes, said biologist Sarah Bolius, I guess, from the Leibniz. What the hell's Leibniz? It's a Martian Institute. The Leibniz, sorry, I'm not meaning to make fun of anybody's cultures, but it's a weird word, Leibniz. Institute for Baltic Sea Research in Warnemünde. Warnemund? I don't know how the hell to say that. Incredibly, despite being dormant for so long, the organisms seem to be none the worse for wear. It is remarkable that the resurrected algae had not only survived just so, but apparently have not lost any of their fitness, i.e. their biological performance ability. They grow, divide, photosynthesize like their modern descendants, said Bolius. Okay. Well, there you go. They brought back 7,000-year-old algae. Okay. Well, thank you. That's your funded science. That's hard work right there. Oh, I pushed the buttons again. That's still not working, is it? Damn it. It was working too. Now we're back to this. Oh, I need the new computer. It's going to be done by Friday, right? It's going to be ready Friday, right? Right? I'm just trying to think positively here. I'm really almost done setting up the old computer, but anyway, you have to eat the algae to get your desires. Okay, Matthew, you first. Let's see how that works. All right. Well, there you go. This has been, oh, damn it. It's just not going to do it. This has been the news. Damn it. It's been the news. This just in, my buttons don't work all of a sudden. Thank you, buttons. All right, let's get back to the rest of the show and see what the hell else is going on here. I have no idea if this is going to work. Let's try it. No, it sure as hell isn't. Sure isn't. Here we go. Let's go back to the rest of the show. Internet is bumpy. You're right. Tennessee, Kentucky, Bigfoot. There you go. that's the news, ladies and gentlemen. But don't worry, there's plenty more show left for you. The news might be over, but there's so much more. We have so much more for your viewing pleasure. How's everybody doing? Anybody else come in that I missed? Poncho Zorch is in here. Good to see you, Poncho. Grind them gears. You know I'm be grinding them. I'm grinding my gears. Absolutely. I'm just looking to see if anybody else popped in. Werewolf's in here. Good to see you, Werewolf. Thanks for coming in. All right. Let's look over at Rumble. I haven't looked at that for a little bit. See who's what, who, what. What the hell's going on over there? I gotta make that bigger. Needs to be stretched. There we go. Yeah, it looks like the same people are still over in Rumble. And hello to anybody over on X watching. Thank you for watching. If you want, message away. Your message will appear right over there with everybody else's, as will Facebook, as will YouTube and Twitch. So the only one that won't is Rumble, at least not yet. But hopefully that'll be something that's built in pretty quick here. As Rumble continues to grow, it's going to be hard to ignore it, I think. But anyway, good to see you guys, all of you that are coming in and have been in and are getting here. It's good to have you here. What in the hell is this? Okay. There we go. That's strange. That changed too, didn't it? Okay. Well, I'm just seeing stuff all over the place. Hello, Sandy M. Good to have you here. Hello from Texas, she says. We're pretty well represented with Texas tonight. Good to have all you Texans here and wherever you're from. Thanks for being here, everybody. Wizard Moon, good to have you here as well. Thanks for coming in. All right, so we're going to go to an article that we've been working our way through for a little while. And we're going to work our way a little further through it tonight. Remember, I do not know how you do all this on your own like you're doing tonight. Well, it works great when the buttons work. It gets harder when they don't, though. That's definitely right now. They're not working right now. They've betrayed me. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if this one will work. Oh, no, even the names aren't up there. I know it's not going to work. Ugh. It's absolutely frustrating. But all I can tell you is Mercedes, it's like necessity. I don't have other people to do it for me, so it has to be me. I have to make it work. And the only thing I can tell you is my saving grace probably is that I can still talk and talk through my problems. Otherwise, this would be a train wreck in a hurry. It's already kind of a train wreck, but it would be more of a train wreck. Lots of people are watching. Yay. Taco says, yeah, thanks, buddy. We do pretty well here. We got a great audience here on the portal. I'm really thrilled that so many of you guys come in and to take part of each show. Raspberries is in here. Good to see you. Smash that like button like it owes you money. Absolutely. Beat it. That didn't sound right. Sorry. Just hit the like button, though. That would be great. So we're going to go to this Thought Catalog article. This is by a gentleman named Eric Redding. And I think the article's from 2016, but it was last updated in 2022. So it's a couple years old, but these are pretty evergreen stories. And again, this is a Reddit scrape article. So what these guys do, they either put a thread out there or they farm threads on Reddit. People responding to paranormal stories. This article is called Tales of the Paranormal to Read If You Don't Want to Sleep Tonight. And I'm here to tell you that we've read it several times in the last several shows, and I've slept just fine. About the same as always. So has not interrupted my sleep patterns yet, but if you're sensitive, it may be. So, listen at your own risk. Although none of these are that creepy, I don't think. They're pretty mellow stories. We love this channel. Thank you, Mickey G. I appreciate it. I love you guys too. But here we go. Let's get to this. No, I was going to push a button, wasn't I? I was going to hit the button. Yeah, it's a habit that dies hard, believe me. All right, here we go. We're going to go over here to this one is number 23, The Yelling Man. We already read that one. Let's go to 24, The Man with the Hunched Back. Is that scoliosis or what? Let's check it out. Again, these are great articles. I hope you guys like them. Check out Thought Catalog, though, if you ever get a chance. And you're looking for some pretty good articles. They literally have articles about pretty much anything you're interested in. So please give them a check. Check them out. You're going to enjoy it if you do. This is number 24 of this article, and this is a huge article. Probably going to be working through this for another 5 shows, which is fine. The Man with the Hunchback, though. Let's read this one. I used to see things out of the windows. Mine was a large man that had on multiple layers of brown clothing. They were so stacked upon each other that it gave him a hunched back. He almost looked like a turtle. I never saw his face, though. And had always assumed that it was just a bum that would sit close to houses just to keep warm. Well, that was my logic at a young age. The really disturbing thing was he would laugh. It's hard to explain, but almost 20 years later, I can still hear it in my head when I want to. It was like a clown chuckle, that. It had a tempo, very consistent, but it was low, almost like a forced laugh, but it never stopped. I used to hear it outside of my window of my bedroom. And scared, I would then move to my parents' room, and he would move and sit on our patio. That laugh, period, okay. Sometimes I would watch him, and he would slowly turn to look at me. And I would quickly duck down below the windows. And one time, I'd stayed up late, and our living room window had a very dark curtain. And I was sitting on the chair we had that was by the window. I'd been watching something on the television when I heard that laugh starting. I turned the television off so he wouldn't know that I was there. The moonlight hit that curtain, and I could see his giant turtle-like outline. It was literally inches away from him. I was literally inches away from him. I sat there for what seemed like hours. I was powerless to move and had to listen to that laugh. Eventually, I passed out from just being so tired. We finally moved a couple of years later, and I never saw him again. I never had to hear that laugh, but I never forgot it. I think I hallucinated like you, but man, it really sticks with you. I guess maybe his comment was responding to another comment. Maybe it was this one, the yelling man. Oh, yeah, because the last one says, I'm pretty sure that was one of those kids who hallucinated when they were very young. And this person saying, yeah, maybe I hallucinated too. Maybe neither of you hallucinated and you saw just something maybe most people couldn't see. But who knows? All right, let's go to number 26, belated messages. Hi, Roman Daniels. Roman Daniels of the Supernatural Station podcast. Good to see you, man. I'm glad you're here, brother. All right, belated messages. When I was in high school, I dated this marvelous girl. She was charming and sweet, and she had the perfect smile. Well, sadly, she got in an ATV accident and passed away due to head trauma. And this destroyed me, and I was a wreck. But exactly a week later, I don't know what IIRC, isn't that a chat? IIRC? I got an email from her saying that she was so excited to hang out with me that summer. It strangely made me feel better. I don't know if that message was in the drafts folder for X amount of time and then it automatically sent it, but I was happily surprised that somehow she spoke to me after her passing. I also got a text message from her phone that week, but no one had touched the phone since she passed, and her parents and brothers wouldn't even go in her room. Aw, so maybe she was sending him messages from beyond. That's kind of sweet. I don't know. It's hard to know. I mean, technology does do weird things, and you can't dismiss that sometimes things just malfunction in weird ways. But to get both an email and a text message, I think that's a little beyond the realm of chance, right? I mean, I would think so, but let me know what you guys think. I wonder. All right, number 27. I think you just produced a ray. Okay. I don't know, that my head just went all kinds of different directions. What does that mean? Let's find out. I was in the middle of a session with my therapists, And we were starting deep meditation slash hypnosis. And I'd finally achieved what I would describe as the deepest state of relaxation that I'd ever gotten to. About 5 seconds into this deep meditation, the room got incredibly bright, as far as I could tell with closed eyes, as if I was looking at the sun with my eyes closed. My therapist stopped mid-sentence just then. She didn't speak for like 5 seconds, and I asked her if everything was okay, and she said, I think you just produced a ray. She refused to tell me what she meant, and she dropped me as a client the next week. I still have no idea what happened. See, that's crappy. It's like, okay, so the person had a weird event happen, and this therapist who's supposed to help you navigate your problems and your thinking issues can't handle it. Like, whatever happened was too much for that person. And they just went, nope, I'm not doing that anymore with that person. It's like, oh, that's a horrible thing. That's a horrible thing. If you're not prepared for, well, I mean, I don't know, maybe you can't prepare for that. I don't know. I've seen lots of really weird things in my life, so that wouldn't, I mean, it would be an incredible event to witness, but it still wouldn't be like, I can't handle talking to you anymore. See, I wouldn't do that. There's no way in hell. I would just be like, wow, something really incredible just happened. So that's really sad if that's the case. She just went, I can't see you as a client anymore. No, that's horrible. All right, number 28, snow globes. My mom had always bought snow globes for my grandma. When my grandma passed away, my mom took them back to our house. My mom put them all up on the shelves that go around the entire living room. Well, a few weeks had passed, and my mom found a video that she wanted my brothers and I to watch because it reminded her of our grandma. We all sat down to watch it, and of course, near the end of the movie, our mom was crying. Right then, when the movie ends, all of the snow globes went off at the same time. The figurines didn't move on any of them. It was just the music. We all huddled together, and of course, because we're scared as hell, and my mom suddenly said, Mom? And all the music stopped, and the room became extremely cold. My mom suddenly felt really uncomfortable and had us all run and get in the car, and she drove us to our godmother's house. She cried for hours until she got a call from our dad saying he'd be home in a few minutes and should head back. When we all got back inside, it was warm again, but all of the snow globes were shattered on the ground except for one. And that one was my grandmother's favorite. Ooh. So was Grandma pissed? Was Grandma really unhappy there? You ran out during my display? Hell no. That's crazy. Crazy. Excuse me, I burped. Sorry about that. I don't usually burp into my microphone, but that one snuck up on me. My apologies, of course. All right, number 29, it's okay. I lost my grandfather several years ago. He was the first of my grandparents to die, and the rest sort of just fell like dominoes behind him. Well, I was out of town when he passed. He'd been in the hospital a while. He was stable, so it was really unexpected. My father called me early in the morning and told me, "Come home. Papa's gone." Well, I drove home a complete mess, wiped tears away, and stood strong for my dad, and helped with the arrangements, supported everyone as best as I could. And not long after, my grandmother's Alzheimer's got much worse, and she followed him into death. The night before she died, she looked at the ceiling and smiled so big, saying, "Jesus," and the grandfather's name, "they're here for me." She passed quietly with family present, and then the rest of us were called in to mourn and assemble as a family. All that passed without incident. A couple of years later, my maternal great-grandmother, a true diamond, fell and broke her hip. She was closing in on 100, and ultimately made up her mind to just let go. We understood and took turns sitting with her until it was time. The last time I saw her, she told me she was ready to go and imparted her last words on me. I leaned into her with a big hug and asked her for a favor. When you get home, will you tell Papa I'm sorry I wasn't there? She just smiled, nodded, and she winked at me. We cried a little and I went home, and she passed that night about 3 a.m. Fast forward to a little over a year or so. The email I sent my parents telling them about this is dated February 19th, 2012, and there's a local convention here that normally has ghost hunter panels and the like, and this year a former TAPS member and some other ghost hunter types held a campfire story sort of panel, with people contributing their own stories, much like this thread. I sat there listening, and it was all pretty neat. The panel was uneventful. It ended, and I lingered around for a while, and I was chatting with one of them, who gave me a copy of their book as people milled about leaving. And a heavyset guy who had been sitting on the panel earlier came up to me and said, I need to tell you something, and I was going to leave, but I can't until I tell you this. I hope it doesn't freak you out. So I told him, go ahead, and he looked at me and said, there's an older gentleman behind you, tall and thin, white button-down shirt, khaki slacks, wearing glasses, a little bit of stubble, very strong jaw, and he's been with you since you came in here, and he wants me to tell you it's okay. He's very insistent and really wanted me to tell you he wanted you to know it was okay. I pulled a photo of him and my grandmother at a younger age, but still very much themselves, out of my wallet and asked him if that's who he saw. He went white, looked over my shoulder and back at the photo and said, yes. Holy crap. Onions everywhere. He told me that my grandfather was around me often and even protected me. So the term onions, I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know. It's just something that used to be on a lot of threads for a long time. Whenever somebody was emotional, they were like, who's cutting onions? Why is everybody cutting onions all of a sudden? It's like, I don't know, tongue-in-cheek way of referring to crying. And I thought I should tell you, just in case some of you out there were like, what the hell what do you mean onions? Just means people getting teary-eyed and blaming it on the onions, you know. So anyway, we'll read one more. What's the time? Yeah, about one more. One more. Now I'm actually going to have to take a quick break, believe it or not. I got to use the loo. It snuck right up on me. All right, number 30, fulfilling your own dream. When I was young, I'd have a reoccurring dream. Well, the dream had no real story behind it. It was just odd. Little clips of my life so far. The dream always ended the same way. You would just kind of fade to black, and I'd hear voices, one saying, I just had the weirdest dream. And a female voice would reply, what about? The first voice would go on and on, talking, and at that point, I'd just wake up. So about 8 months ago, at least 30 years later, I had the dream again. It was the weirdest thing. I could remember all those little clips, most of which I had long since forgotten about. I felt this overwhelming joy to be recalling all those lost childhood memories. The feeling was so intense. It was like being so happy that I could cry. And I never felt like that before. But the end of the dream was different this time, and this was the God's honest truth. Instead of fading to black and hearing the voices, I just woke up and I was laying there feeling confused about the dream. Was this the same dream I'd had when I was little? I rustled my wife from her sleep and said, I just had the weirdest dream. She replied, what about? I was wide awake, playing out the ending of the childhood dream. No kidding. Everything I said to her over the next minute or two to describe the dream was actually as I had heard it when having the dream back from when I was 8 or 10. It was like this hardcore deja vu. I have deja vu from time to time, and I think it's cool, but this blew my mind. The next morning after the dream, and I was already starting to question myself about whether I actually had those dreams when I was young, or was it something my dream invented? But if I did have them, was I somehow peering into the future? I'm all about logic and science. I don't believe in ghosts, the supernatural, or even God for that matter. Sorry, Mom. I believe there's an answer for everything, but I'll be damned if I have an inkling to what this was all about. Ooh. What was it all about? God only knows. Fantastic show tonight. What do you mean, Jason? We're not done. Are you leaving? Is that what's going on? We still got another hour, dude. Got a whole nother hour of the portal, so we're not going anywhere. You are not excused, sir. We're not going anywhere. You got to stay put. But I do need to use the loo. I do need to go have a break. I just got to manually find my brakes. I wonder if I could just do this. Maybe I could. I don't know. Let's see. Nope, buttons are not working. I was going to see if I could get rid of use a button, but it's not going to let me do that. Let's see. Should we do this one? Let's do this one. All right, here we go. I'm going to go take a break quick. I'll be right back. Do not go anywhere. I swear to God, I'll be right back. I just got to go use the loo. So we'll be right back.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, ripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me as their lies keep falling apart. When I'm not told
right, there it was. Quick break. I got to get back to the regular scene here. Sorry about that. Thanks, though, those of you that were saying my music is good. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a song I wrote, God, back in 2011, somewhere around there. But yeah, it's kind of recorded like crap, but it's called Emotional Buffet. And yeah, I'm pretty proud of that one. Co-wrote it with a friend of mine who wrote the bass line. That's Jeremy Guzzi. He wrote that brilliant bass line, and I wrote the guitar and the vocals and stuff. And it's just like, wow, that feels good. I like that song a lot. But thank you guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate it a bunch. Yeah, every once in a while, yeah. Yeah, thank you for sharing that link. Who was your musical inspiration? My favorite music of all time is Pink Floyd, but I like The Cure, I like U2, I like Led Zeppelin, I like Ozzy. I mean, I have a really eclectic lot of different songs. If you could see my Spotify playlist, it would be a whole collection of things. So, yeah. I was if I ever sing karaoke again. I don't usually sing karaoke. I usually just sang in the band, but once in a while I have. But I think I'd do some Ozzy. I think I would sing some Ozzy because I'm pretty sure I could pull off a pretty good Ozzy. But I used to love covering Radiohead Creep a lot too. I love that song. So She's Over Me group song. Oh, that's Feline Roman. That's a song called Feline. I used to open every show with clips from Feline. Every show for years and years and years. But yeah, that song is available, as is the one you just heard. They're both available over on brentthomas.bandcamp.com. So if you guys are interested, please feel free. I mean, not that, I expect everybody to rush over there and do it. I do Creep at karaoke. Oh, okay, cool. Very cool, Raspberries. Yeah, I used to cover it in my, in that band that I'm playing with there. We used to play at clubs and stuff. We did a whole bunch of covers, but I always loved doing Creep. But anyway, so does Jaron's a great singer. He's got some great vocals. The kid's got good pipes for sure. But all right, well, we made it through the Thought Catalog article. Where are we at for time right now? I guess it's 8:06. I guess we could get started on the cryptids. You guys want to do some creature cryptid stuff? I dated a guy once that does Iron Maiden and Rush tributes. Yeah, I like Rush too. That's Iron Maiden I like too. I used to love Iron Maiden back in the day. The Scorpions, great music. Yeah, please do. Yeah, tell Jaron. I think he's got a great voice. Yeah, he's got, I think, more vocal control than I have. Like, he can do all the acrobatic vocal stuff. I'm just kind of hit a note and go. I don't have all the nuances probably. But anyway, let's get back on the paranormal school bus and see where the portal's going next. I think it'll be the cryptid corner, unless there was something you guys wanted to talk about. Again, you guys are my co-host tonight, so if there's anything, I could feel a little Sabbath in that. Oh, thanks. Thanks, man. I appreciate the comparisons. I mean, honestly, I didn't write it to sound like anything, but I just wrote it because it was what came to mind as I was hearing that bass melody. I was like, boom, ba-da-doom, da-doom, da-doom. That's a great bass line. Brent, we shared you out, Brent. Oh, God bless you, Eddie and Jen Vlogs. Great to see you guys here. Thanks for coming in. You did say you subscribed. Now I can see that that's true because you're here. Wonderful. Great to have you guys here. Let's go to the cryptids, get into the cryptid corner if you guys don't mind. We'll hit some creature cryptids. We're going to start right at Phantoms and Monsters tonight. But before we do that, I want to cover this other story from Phantoms and Monsters. And this is a Black-Eyed Kids story. And I thought this was pretty interesting because generally speaking, when you hear Black-Eyed Kids, you think, ooh, that's not good. That's not good. But the title of this one got my attention. So I thought, well, this would be a cool one to cover. Maybe before we hit the actual cryptid corner and discuss the actual creatures. But let's check it out. Linda says, anybody ever noticed that a lot of paranormal peeps seem to have an artsy side? Well, yeah, I guess because, yeah, maybe it's because we're more right-brained, like into the creative sides of ourselves. But, because if you're too logic-brained, it's hard to get your head around the paranormal. You can't logic it to death because it's not logical based on our understanding of things. So you have to refer to the right side, the right brain a little more in the paranormal circles because we don't have the science to logic it with. But, maybe that's why. That's why many of the paranormal peeps are right-brained, at least balanced. But anyway, let's get into this one. This is phantomsandmonsters.com, ladies and gentlemen. And I thought this is interesting. I don't know. We'll see what you guys think once I find the screen to put it on with. I need the 2-panel. There we go. Here it is. This is phantomsandmonsters.com, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lon Strickler's site. Lon's just been an incredible pillar in the community for years and years, and he's done some great stuff. And if you've never checked out Phantoms and Monsters, or if you don't check it out much, you should check it out a lot more because there's literally thousands of encounter stories. People encountering all kinds of things, from hauntings to UFOs to cryptids, creatures, Fortean topics, to strange phenomena, and everything in between. So there's literally lots of stuff over there. Kelly Sandiford coming through with 10. Woo! Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate that a whole bunch. But we're going to get to this one. This is a Black-Eyed Kid story. It's Black-Eyed Kid Encounters. Was he malevolent or benevolent? Interesting. Now, I can't ever say, just as I'm reflecting back on this, that I've ever heard of a benevolent Black-Eyed Kid story. So I saw this and went, ooh, we should probably talk about that. So let's get into this story. Again, check out Lon Strickler's phantomsandmonsters.com. You can also learn about Lon's own podcast, which is called Phantoms and Monsters Radio. And he has a YouTube channel as well. So follow over there. Get subscribed if you're not already. Lon goes live on his channel at least every Friday night. I'm not sure if he streams live on any other nights, but you can catch Lon's live streams on Friday nights. And it's him talking about a lot of this stuff. So it's pretty fantastic. Check it out. But let's see what this is. A young black-eyed boy suddenly knocks at the door and persuades the woman to let him in. The experience evolves into something unexpected. I received the following account. It was late October 2019, and I was cooking while listening to my favorite radio station when I heard someone knocking at the door. I was wondering who it could possibly be, given that I live alone, and at that moment, I wasn't expecting anyone. But since I was used to accepting Amazon deliveries from some neighbors, I headed straight to the entrance, and while the knocking grew stronger and more insistent, the situation was weird, since the couriers normally used the doorbell until then. But at that moment, I just didn't give it much importance. I opened the door and found myself in front of a child who appeared to be more or less 10 years old. He was wearing some strange clothes, and I thought he could come from the countryside, and he immediately told me, "I need help, let me in." I asked him why and where his parents were. Was he lost? He simply replied, "I have to enter." His voice was flat and monotone, almost synthetic. It was not the kind of voice that you would have expected from a child. At first, I could not look him straight in the face, partly because it was twilight and partly because he was looking towards my feet. He then put his hand on the door frame, and there was something odd that I couldn't explain, and it was actually scaring me. I didn't know exactly what it was because he was just a child. I wanted to close the door, but I couldn't do it. Something in my mind prevented me. Perhaps the internal conflict that breaks out when something you take for granted turns out to be different without giving you the ability to assimilate it. Well, at that point, he stared at me, and I immediately realized that his eyes were solid black, There was no iris. There was no sclera. Only pure darkness. It was a surreal situation. He was there, right before my eyes, and I was scared. I kept staring at him, unable to look away from that deep black. I was stuck. In a flat, calm voice, he said, "I need help. Let me in. I'm just a child." My body wanted to abruptly close the door with force, but his eyes told me not to do it. My mind told me not to do it. I felt compelled to do just what he was asking me. The only thought in my mind was, in fact, he is just a child who simply needs help. I moved aside and let him in. Ooh. Ooh. He kept looking at me with those empty eyes. The odd thing is that they were empty, but at the same time, they instilled in me a sense of peace that I had never felt before. Well, at this point, I didn't know if he was speaking verbally or telepathically. I was confused. It was like he was inside my head. He introduced himself as Eli. He took my hand, and I felt a slight electric current go through my skin. The same kind of feeling when you put the laptop power supply on the skin and your hair stands up. Jesus, time for a new power supply, lady. I don't know exactly what he did at this moment, but he told me about religions and death and how they were used for the purpose of power, how reality was distorted. He showed me horrible things, unspeakable events, and I felt his suffering, all in the name of God, whatever religion it is. He also told me that the God we believe in does not exist. There are only energy and souls, and I believed him. He then said he would come back. He simply left the house, turned the corner, and to this day, I've never seen him again. I'll wait for him. And to date, no negative events have occurred due to that encounter. Wow, how about that, huh? Flip Dizzies became a member. God bless you. Thanks, Flip Dizzies. Appreciate it. I gotta admit, this is the only time I've ever heard a black-eyed kid story. That first, one of the very few I've heard where they let him in, which is always allegedly a big no-no. But the other stories that I've heard, they have let him in. They ended really poorly. Like for the people that let them in, there would be fainting and huge health problems. A couple referred to potential deaths. And so I don't know, but this one is just like, hey, everything you know is wrong, but see you later. I'll be back. And that's it. And no bad effects. So I don't know what to make of this one, folks. This is an anomaly. And again, all of these stories, I guess, are a bit of a leap of faith, because you have to resign yourself to the fact that you can't question the witness. You can't comparatively, go through their story bit by bit, looking for inconsistencies, look for embellishments, any number of things that you might do if you were truly interviewing a witness of an event. So all we can do is take this at face value and say, do you believe or do you not believe? And I don't know what to tell you in this one. It's so very different from the other stories. This person both felt the fear and, I don't know, I guess kind of a resignation. Like, well, it's a kid. What am I going to do? It's a kid. So I guess they make the choice they make. If this is indeed real. And I don't know. Lon didn't have any notes on the end, but generally speaking, he does vet these. And so I was looking forward to seeing his response to this, but it doesn't seem like there is one. So I don't know if this wasn't one that he talked to in person or if he just got the account. He received the following account. I don't know if that means it was reported to him directly or if it was an indirect account. And I don't know. Again, Lon does a hell of a job, so you'll have to be the judge. Brent, black-eyed kids and black-eyed aliens. Any correlation, you think? Could the black-eyed children be alien hybrids out for no good? Sure. Again, it's largely speculative what they are, what they aren't. We just don't have any metrics for comparison other than people's ideas and ideologies, for that matter. If you compare it to a religious lens, I'm sure it looks evil. If you compare it to a holistic lens, maybe less evil. I don't know. I don't know what to make of these things, and I will never consider myself an arbiter of what is true and what's not. I mean, I make judgment calls like everybody else, and this is a tough one though, because I don't know. I've not heard one that ended like this ever. So this is a standalone story, which to me actually makes me less likely to subscribe to it, but it would be nice if that was the case. Idealistically, I'd like that this was the case. Like, hey, they just wanted to come in and share some ideas about our existence, and maybe they'll be back someday. Okay, well, that's pretty harmless for the most part, but again, I don't know. It's hard to say, BJ. I wish I could tell you if it's possible. I've thought about the whole alien connection with black-eyed kid stories, but the whole nefarious part of it for me was the hard part, to be honest, because that sounds more demonic then. It sounds more evil, and I don't know that the beings that are visiting us from everywhere are evil or not. Maybe there's some that are, maybe there's some that aren't, maybe they're all good, maybe they're all bad. So it's a tough call. And that's the hard part. I guess all you can do is just make the best decisions you can. I would still definitely advise caution. If you ever look through your door and you see a black-eyed kid, I would err on the side of caution, because if you're wrong, you could be dead wrong. And is it worth it? Especially since this one came in and said, oh, everything you think is wrong, and I got to go. See you later. I'll be back. Well, it's like, that's not enough to really risk your soul. That's not enough. But again, you be the judge. I don't know, BJ. That's a tough one. I wish I could say, well, no, I think it's this or that. I just don't know. And honestly, how can we know? We have the problem with black-eyed kid stories too, is that with things like Bigfoot stories, there are thousands of them. And so with Bigfoot stories, with ghost stories, most of the time you can extrapolate that, yeah, generally speaking, like in the case of Bigfoot, there's enough people that have encountered them and walked away and been just fine. Startled, terrified, all the other things, but if the Bigfoot wanted them dead, they would have been dead. So it's probably mostly okay to assume that they probably don't want us dead. They just want us not there. And that makes sense. So if you see a Bigfoot, yeah, I'm sure it'd be terrifying, but you don't have to worry about it trying to eat your soul. With ghosts, generally speaking, I've lived in a lot of haunted places, had a lot of ghostly experience. I've investigated hauntings and haunted places, and I'm okay. So I think for the most part, a lot of these spirits they're stuck for whatever reason they're stuck, but that doesn't mean they're evil. Now, I'm not saying there aren't those people that say, well, if you're encountering a ghost, it's a demon. There's lots of people that are all on that side of the fence. Like, if you're seeing a ghost, it's a demon. The end. And it just hasn't been my experience. But, so all I can gauge it from is my own experience, both things that I sought out and things I didn't look for that they found me. In all of those cases, very little of it was actually extraordinarily negative. Most of it was very benign. So my experiences, along with thousands and thousands of other people that have encountered ghostly experiences without, losing their soul or whatever, I guess you can mostly assume that they're not looking for trouble necessarily either. They might be stuck. They might be lingering. They might be just doing their own thing, and they're not looking for trouble. But there's certainly things that exist spiritually that are, and I don't discount that. I think there's some extraordinarily dark, horrible viciously destructive things that exist as spirit that are out there. I just don't think it's as many as people like to claim. I think they're out there, but I think they're kind of rare. But I think there's plenty of crabby spirits that come off as possibly demons, but they're not. So anyway, I don't know if I'm talking in circles or if I'm answering your questions, but I'm trying. It's just when you have a lot of reports to go from, it's you feel more confident making judgment calls. And the Black-Eyed Kids, we only have handfuls of stories that have emerged that, maybe there's more, but a lot of them just seem like creative fiction. So there's stories of little people, a whole tribe, either from the Aztecs or the Toltecs, as well as the Cherokee little people, as well as the Duende. There's lots of little people stories all over the world. And for the most part, most of them don't seem to really like us, but they tolerate us or they avoid us. There's some little people that would just as soon kill us as look at us. Like apparently Pukwudgies fall into that group. They don't like us at all. Redcaps are apparently pretty dark and evil towards us as well. Maybe we've earned it though. I'm not saying they're not justified in maybe not liking us, but yeah. So anyway, I guess it's anybody's guess. I wish I could answer questions like that with some kind of authority, but I can't. I just don't know. And I would hate to give you guys poor advice on that. I just don't know. It's a grab bag really, but that's an interesting case, an interesting story. And it's a first one like this that I think I've ever read where it wasn't a absolutely horrifying event where the person either got exceptionally sick, maybe, lost limbs or developed nasty infections or any number of things, including death of, people that have been involved, or just coming over to have a talk quick and then leaving. It's a standalone for me. So I guess it's harder for me to buy this one as opposed to the other ones. But again, there's not a lot of these stories to go on. The Shoshone have tales of little people. They look like kids, lure you away into the dark. Yeah, it sounds suspiciously like the legends of the Fae from the old world, The Fae were notorious for luring children away and never having them be seen again. So, yeah, very, very interesting. I think there's plenty of this stuff all over the place, though. I just think for the most part, they either aren't aware of us or they ignore us. And for the most part, we don't see them because we're kind of detuned, which may work out to our benefit, actually. So hard to say, but there it is. That's a Black-Eyed Kids benevolent, but potentially benevolent story. No ill side effects at all. To date, no negative events have occurred due to that encounter. So that's cool. That's pretty cool. But I think we'll head over to the cryptids. Are you guys ready? It's time for the cryptid corner. Let's do it. Yeah, Maggie, that's the legend. Of course, it could just be folklore. There could be many natural elements that cause them to be red. Dyeing of fabrics is pretty much as old as civilization. People have been dyeing fabrics since ancient time using herbs and different plant matter and stuff. So, and even soils and minerals. So I'm sure there's plenty of things that could make them red, but it sounds pretty scary to say they're soaked in blood. For the red caps, but maybe they are. And if they are, that wouldn't match either, though, because blood, when it gets old, turns brown. It doesn't stay vibrant red. So there's always that. But anyway, let's continue. We're going to dive into the cryptids now, but we're going to stay with phantoms and monsters because Lon literally updates this several times a day. He's posting new stories all the time. He wonderfully, Lon posts a lot of his stories over on Paranormal Portal Fans Facebook page. It's on Facebook, Paranormal Portal Fans. I think it's facebook.com/portalpeeps or something like that. I think is what it is. But anyway, you can check out that group, get involved, join, whatever. But we're going to dive into the Leaf Man. This one's a different one. I'd like to know what it is that you hear that sounds like a knock at your door very late or early in the morning, and nobody's there when you answer the door. That's the spirit you probably just let in when you open the door. That's the legend, actually unknown, is if you ever have a knocking at your door but you look out and nobody's there, don't open the door, because if you do, you might have just let something in. So just word of the wise. It's kind of a wives' tale, but yeah, I wouldn't open the door if someone's knocking and there's nobody there. Don't open it. Peek. Look. Raccoons. Raccoons are knuckling up the door. Hey, where's the chips? We're waiting. Do not open the door if you hear knocking late at night. Only if you verify someone's there and they actually have whites in their eyes. Check first that there's someone there. Check second, what do their eyes look like? I'm just saying, words to live by. Really, because that would explain things. Seriously, that's a legendary tale. If you ever have knocking at your door and you open it and no one's there, you might have just let it in. It was trying to set you up. True legendary tale. I can't say it's a true story. It might not be, but if you had knocking and you open the door and let something in, maybe let something in if you notice things happening after you shut the door or that started developing, then yeah, you might have let something in. All right, does the Leaf Man exist? I can't say I've ever heard of Leaf Man before either, so this one's kind of new. Out of the shadows came a tall, spindly creature that seemed to be covered in hair, which in turn was matted with leaves. The creature gave off a horrid stench, and through its tangled hair, we could see 2 burning eyes. That's a nightmare. That's a nightmare scenario. It says, I've always been intrigued by creepy stories and their power to embed themselves into a local community. Growing up in the 80s, I was obsessed with tales concerning local boogeymen, and one such yarn that often spooked me was known as the Leaf Man. Such a monster was said to haunt an undisclosed section of woodland not far from Hailsham, I guess? I don't know how to pronounce that. Although reports of the creature seemed mostly vague. However, one eyewitness told me a few years ago the following story. I'd been with 3 friends at the time. It must have been around 1984, during a time when it was normal for us kids to be out just playing in the woods, as long as we were home by a certain time. I think at the time we were playing not too far from what people know as Folkeington Wood. And it was around dusk, and we were all lighting a campfire when suddenly, from the shadows, and like in all good horror movies, we heard the snap of a twig. And we all sensed that we were being watched. But as teenagers, we were brazen and goaded what was lurking in the bushes to come out and fight. We all armed ourselves with sticks and stones, only to have our eyes met by a horrifying sight. Out of the shadows came a tall, spindly figure that seemed to be covered in hair, which in turn was matted with leaves. The creature gave off a horrid stench, and through its entangled hair we could see 2 burning eyes. As I'm sure you can imagine, we were all terrified, and so we fled, never once looking behind us to see if the monster was actually in pursuit. Of course, no one believed our story, but as we got older, and most of us, except one, remained friends, we often spoke about the creature we named the Leaf Man. People often ask us if we were the victims of a hoax. Memories can be hazy, but this thing seemed real, and more than just a man in a suit. Oddly, I have another report of a so-called Leaf Man, but from Kent, and again, it involved a group of youths playing in an area and encountering such a manifestation. Some believed, however, that the creature was in fact a ghost of a soldier adorned in camouflage, enabling him in life to conceal himself among the foliage. Another creepy story from Sussex comes from Gatwick Airport, of all places, where it was once spoken of by local children that a horrible monster once lived. Of course, an airport is the last place you would expect any bloodthirsty beast to reside. But anyway, the creature, sometimes believed to have been a descendant from the ancient dragon once said to haunt St. Leonard's Forest, was said to feed off of scraps from around the area, making its way through a network of sewer systems, drainage pipes, and the likes between villages. Of course, local children probably created the tale, but were equally scared by it, to the point that eventually it was claimed that the salivating serpent was eager for human flesh too. It's been suggested that some children around Crawley are reluctant to go to school in case they get plucked from the path by the monster, whilst other children walk home in groups, all fearful that this elusive dragon may dine on their bones. It is possible, of course, that many of these legends may have simply stemmed from actual sightings of snakes or other reptiles that throughout the history may have escaped and been released, but how can we explain the dreaded appearance of the Leaf Man? I guess we can't. Yeah, I don't know. Very weird. All right, well, that's the Leaf Man. I'd never heard of the Leaf Man before, but it's, if this is over in the UK, and of course there are Grogok, Greyman, Woodwose. These are all Bigfoot-like beings, but they're not the same thing necessarily. They're supposed to be variations, perhaps, of some more primitive type of man, and I don't know, maybe matted hair with leaves in it makes sense if it is some kind of feral hominid of some kind. The stench part certainly fits in with the Bigfoot stories. The fact that it was large, maybe also, but I don't know. Not every Bigfoot is this big hulking figure though either. A lot of Bigfoot reports have depicted them as extremely lanky. Like maybe there's quite a biological diversity in them, that they don't all turn out to be these hulking, huge, monstrous things. Maybe some of them are gangly and thin and develop along those lines, just like people. There's some people that are extraordinarily robust and beefy and big, and then again, there's some people that look like they haven't had a sandwich in like 3 weeks. They're just skin and bones. But it doesn't mean that there isn't that diversity within human beings. So is it possible that whatever Bigfoot is, whatever it actually is, maybe there's an incredible biodiversity among the beings in that race? I don't know. Just thoughts, but words to think about anyway. Again, I wish I had answers for you guys, but I just have a lot of questions. I have a lot of theories, but, I don't know. You'll have to let me know what you think. Do you think Bigfoot could have a lot of biodiversity in, Bigfoot, quote unquote Bigfoot? Because I don't think it's necessarily just one fine line of creatures that are known as Bigfoot. Perhaps it's a collection of various things within a similar branch of biological evolution. I don't know. Just thoughts, but let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. All right. Let's go to the next one because I got a bunch more. What is this one? 2 upright canine cryptids. Okay. Reported in Wausau in Orfordville. How do you pronounce that word? Orfordville, Wisconsin. This is Wisconsin. All right. This is also the location of the Beast of Bray Road, obviously. I just interviewed Lee Hempel, and wonderful guy. He's a former researcher that worked with Linda Godfrey in her life, and Linda Godfrey is still among the all-time favorite people I've ever interviewed. She was just such an amazing person, such a kind person. I'd really love talking to Linda Godfrey. Of course, she was famous for the Beast of Bray Road, which basically was one of the most instrumental things to put Dogman on the map. A lot of people like to take bows for putting Dogman on the map, but Linda Godfrey was the big one to me. Now, there's been other people who have definitely contributed, don't get me wrong, but I think her book about Bray Road and about the experiences people had seeing some kind of canid cryptid was what really solidified the term in our minds of Dogman. So let's see what this is, because this is also Wisconsin. Could have something to do with the Beast of Bray Road. So this one is from March 28th, so let's check it out. 2 different upright cryptid canine encounter reports from Wausau and Orfordville, Wisconsin. Both creatures were closely seen by the witnesses who were driving. All right, let's check it out. You can see there's some roadkill. This looks almost more bear-like, actually, but anyway. Let's check it out. I saw this beast in Wausau, Wisconsin on September 21st, 2008. Another person and I were in a car on a 2-lane road with farms on each side. I passed at about 100 miles per hour in an Audi, 1 or 2 a.m. right next to it. It was in the opposite lane right next to the markings in the middle of the road. I asked the person next to me to explain what she saw, and she described everything in detail, exactly what I saw. This thing exists. It has a wolf face and is bear-sized and on 2 legs. I turned the car around in 20 seconds and it was gone. Excuse me. I saw it, and it was eating the carcass of a deer in the middle of the road. I have nothing to gain from lying or inventing, and I asked the passenger of the car I was driving to describe what she saw: a bear-like creature, size, with wolf-like face and teeth, red eyes, and I would rather it eat roadkill than go hunting humans. I almost killed the damn thing as I sped by at 100 miles per hour, and it was in the middle of the road. If I had killed it, at least someone would have believed me. Some people may call me crazy, but when I saw this crazy beast, I turned my car around in 20 seconds and it had vanished. Yeah, that's pretty bizarre. Again, that's most of the sightings. Even for Bigfoot, it's these quick, boom, I see it, there it's on the road, and then you're gone past it, and by the time you turn around, they're long gone. I wonder if it carried off the carcass when it left, or if it just bolted. The next one, my husband saw a creature in Orfordville, Wisconsin, back in the fall of 1998, off of Old Highway 11. He was picking up speed to continue onto the highway, and the wolf, ? Was on the side of the road on all 4s. And it then got up on the back 2 legs and walked in front of my husband's car and looked right at my husband. He said the wolf creature had a huge muzzle and yellow eyes. And he said it then ran on 2 legs across the road into the cornfield. Needless to say, my hubby got the heck out of Dodge. Believe. My husband and I live in Janesville, Wisconsin, which is less than an hour from Elkhorn. That's near where Linda Godfrey was, yeah. This creature was down on all 4s at first, but then got up on 2 legs and ran in front of his car. It had a long snout, was very hairy, and it was about 6 feet tall. There are things that we can't explain, but they do exist. That's fascinating. I love Dogman reports. Again, the most thing we hear about as far as cryptids are concerned is Bigfoot. And maybe it's because maybe some of these people that see like these dogmen just aren't willing to come forward yet. It's not as okay, but for Bigfoot, it's more common. So maybe that's what emboldens more people to come out and say, hey, I just saw a Bigfoot. And you're kind of part of the club. Linda says a Wendigo. Wendigo are generally there's a couple things that's regarded as Wendigo. Generally a Wendigo is depicted physically as like a very emaciated creature, skeletal almost, with possibly a canid type of frame, like a werewolf kind of frame, but it's all skin and bones, rotted flesh, sometimes depicted with antlers on its head as if they're decorative or maybe part of the creature. Other tribes, other First Nation tribes, talk of the Wendigo as more of a possessing spirit, like a some kind of demonic infestation or oppression that it takes over a person and causes them to do horrible things, just insane, crazy things. But appetite is a big tell with Wendigos. Like people that are possessed by the Wendigo are they like start going cannibal, and they eat people and eat almost nonstop. It's just really, really crazy. But I don't know that this would describe a Wendigo in either one of these cases. It sounds much more like a dogman or some canid variant like that. So interesting stories, though, in both cases. And thank you for the question regarding the Wendigo. I appreciate that. Maggie can't type tonight. Sorry, Maggie. It's okay. It's all right. Don't worry. All right, here we go. Let's get to the next one. What time do we got? Because I know we're nearing the end here. The end comes so quickly here on the portal, folks, but I'm doing my best to watch what you guys are saying in the chats. Oh, Raspberry says, if you've ever seen a deer with wasting disease, you might rethink some accounts of sightings. But the cultural accounts fascinate me. Yeah, the wasting disease is horrifying. It truly is, and that's a prion condition, the deer wasting disease, and not unlike mad cow disease. It's another prion type of infection, or, and prions are basically a malformed protein that ends up replicating and literally just destroys whatever it's in. But same kind of thing as a mad cow disease. Pretty weird stuff. All right, so that was the 2 upright canine reports. This one's a skinwalker report. This one's pretty new. I just pulled this one up tonight from Lon's most recent postings, but it shows like Cujo almost. So I'm kind of interested in what this is. This is from San Juan County, New Mexico, and it is from today, April 2nd. So it's brand new from phantomsandmonsters.com, but let's dig into this one. The fur was beige in color, and it walked on all fours. The coat was pretty patchy, missing clumps of fur and having bald spots. It smelled really bad, like a rotting roadside corpse. Speaking of wasting disease, right? Let's check out this one. I haven't really heard many stories of Native American skinwalkers, so I thought I would share my experience. My sighting happened in the summer of 2007 when I was working the night shift at a surface coal mining facility in San Juan County, New Mexico. Well, I used to drive a coal hauling truck, which was pretty huge and required a series of steps just to climb up into the cab. I just completed my pre-shift inspection and noticed that my radiator was leaking. Well, I called my supervisor and he asked me to drive the truck to the shop. Well, the shop was about 6 miles to the north from the coal pits, which was located in a remote part of the Navajo reservation. Well, I drove the truck to the shop and called the shop foreman, and he radio requested that I park the truck at the south side of the shop. I parked the truck, lowered the ladder, and descended the ladder. I wanted to see how much fluid was left in the radiator, so I lowered the rear ladder and climbed into the engine compartments. Well, the leak was pretty bad, so I climbed down the ladder, and that's when I saw what I believe was a skinwalker. It was the weirdest thing that I have ever seen. I seen it was about 200 feet from me. It was walking around the other mining equipment, and it looked like a huge dog. The fur was beige in color, and it walked on all 4 legs. The coat was pretty patchy, missing clumps of fur and having bald spots, and it smelled really bad, like a rotting roadside corpse. Well, it had seen me and started to walk towards me. I pulled out my flashlight, and I noticed that the dog's eyes did not reflect any light. Its eyes were black and lifeless. Its head made a bobbing motion, and it was walking towards me. Its head was huge. It looked like a bull mastiff, which was my first impression, and I initially thought, this was a huge dog, and it's probably sick and hungry. It got to within 20 feet of me. I pulled out my pocket knife, and I was ready to defend myself if this thing wanted to attack. I started to walk carefully towards the shop, and I kept my eyes on the creature, and it followed me, paralleled my every step. Its walk wasn't natural and fluid like a normal dog. It moved in an unnatural way. I walked about 150 yards to the shop, and it kept its distance. And I finally got to the shop, and the skinwalker stopped at the driveway of the shop bay doors. I went inside, and I told the shop foreman to come and see this weird-looking dog, and we both went outside to see it walk away from the shop and turn around the corner of the building. A few seconds later, my supervisor drove around that very corner, and I asked him if he'd seen that weird-looking animal, and he said he didn't see it. I told him he must have seen it. He must have seen it. He drove in the very direction that it walked off towards, and I described what I had seen, and my supervisor said that it was a skinwalker. That night, my supervisor made me ride with him throughout the rest of the night shift. He opened me up to a world and told me of his experiences while he worked at the mine. I haven't had any more experiences since that encounter, but I've seen mysterious lights around the mining area that didn't make any noises. Interesting. Wow. Yeah, skinwalker stories are really creepy, and it's a weird thing because, again, the skinwalkers used to be the superstars of the Navajo Nation. They were always this weird mystic tribe, essentially, that lived alongside of the Navajo and were celebrated warriors of the Navajo Nation, and they worked together with the Navajo to drive away the Spanish during their Spanish expansion back way in the old days. And they were known to be ferocious warriors and really made the difference. But then apparently they became corrupted, is the story. Like, they became corrupted by the power, and they wanted more power, and they started doing really dark, horrible things, and that's when the separation happened. And that's kind of the backbone of the story of the skinwalkers as I understand it. And I'm not pretending to be a historian by any measure, but that's just what I've read about it. So, yeah, pretty crazy stuff. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think, but there you have it. That's the stories as I know them. What time is it? Well, it's pretty good. Pretty good. I'd say we did pretty good. As long as you don't go on a camera, someone's in the window of their house to record them. Anything else is fair game, honestly. I have no idea what you're talking about, unknown, but I'm sure it's interesting. Yeah, my cousin always has mastiffs. He's had bull mastiffs, and they're beautiful dogs. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. But they're also big dogs. Like, when they bark, it's like thunder. They have such an authoritative bark. It just stops you. It's like, oh God, that's a lot of dog. So, and I think they're beautiful, beautiful animals. I love them, but unfortunately, they don't live a real long life. They're a very short-lived animal. I think generally a mastiff will live about 8 years is like their average lifespan, which is so brief. It's so brief. That's a heartbreaker for sure. So what do you think would be the best defense against a skinwalker? Oof, God, probably a good shaman. You know, as I understand it, there's something to do with fire ash, wood ash. So if you were believing you were around a skinwalker, best thing you could do is either take a blade, or if you got a gun, dip your bullets in like wood ash. And apparently that doesn't agree at all with them. They don't like that at all. It makes bullets lethal for them. I don't know what it is about wood ash, or if it's a specific kind of fire, but some of the stories I've read, this one young lady was being tormented by this skinwalker, and like, she literally just saw the strange dog hanging around over a period of days, and then she was sitting in her room, and she looked out the window, and there was the dog up on top of the wood pile outside of her window. But then the head went up, and she looked and realized there was a really dark human head beneath the head of the dog, and it kind of smirked at her. And she was like screamed and ran out, and she told the grandmother she was staying with, and the grandmother said, don't go outside, don't go outside. And she took her shotgun and put the shotgun shells of the double barrel shotgun into the wood fire, into the ash, and then put them in the shotgun and went outside. And she shot and apparently hit the thing, and it ran off. But what she didn't know, the old lady didn't know, is she came in, she had a small wound on her shoulder, just a little small wound. And so they instantly called a shaman over, and he came over, and I guess he pulled out like a 2-inch bone that was embedded in her shoulder. Now, with skinwalkers, apparently they like to raid cemeteries, and they steal bones of the dead that they use to make a weapon that will kill the living over a period of time, like a poison. And that's what had happened. The old lady didn't even know she'd been touched, but the shaman pulled a 2-inch bone out of her shoulder that had been put in there. In fact, the incision for it was much smaller than the actual bone. So I guess I'd use wood ash, start there, and holy water, prayers, whatever you believe in, just utilize your spirituality, and hopefully someone good is looking over your shoulder and will keep you safe. But yeah, it's pretty scary stuff, pretty wild stuff. I heard someone from another tribe talk about going to a healer, and they remove foreign bones from her body. Yeah, apparently that's a thing, Owl. That's the one of the places where you might find skinwalkers is digging up graves in cemeteries. They like to harvest bones from the dead. So, which is very, very dark and horrible. So, what they do to them after that, I don't know, but it makes something that's not good for us. So, and they like to put them into people. Apparently they just can't. Yeah, wow, that blew my mind. Exactly. I wish I could find that old story again. That was a phenomenally creepy story. I remember reading that way back when Don was here years ago. When the studio used to be upstairs, we read that story, and I remember going, wow, that's creepy stuff. But if I ever run across it again, I will. Yeah, they sound like necromancers. They do. Yeah, I don't know that they're raising the dead, but they're definitely harvesting from the dead, and they're into some pretty dark activities by the sounds of it. So weird stuff. Anyway, I guess that's going to be the journey tonight. Hope you guys had a good time here on the portal. Thank you, everybody who's here. Justin Goodearth came in over on Rumble. Good to see you, brother. We had an Alaskan Malamute that could shake the ground with his bark or howl. That's a big dog, too. Jeez. Yeah. Yeah, those are big. Aren't those sled dogs? The Malamutes, aren't they sled dogs? Yeah, they're huge. I think I have a friend here that owns 2 Malamutes. They're just a really beautiful dog. Beautiful dog, but very powerful. So, black magic, sorcery at the very least. Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. That's what necromancers do. They use body parts from the dead. It's not always raising the dead. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Then they're definitely dealing with necromancy. I don't know. I'm just thinking more of the fantasy line of raising the dead and for nefarious reasons. Kind of like the voodoo practice of creating zombies. And it's very creepy in and of itself. So that's going to do it, though. I hope you guys enjoyed the journey. Thank you for all of your guys' conversation. I appreciate it. Holy water sprinkled on salt. Well, holy water includes salt water. So that's certainly salt is part of that. But anyway, yeah, very, very cool. But I think anytime you're dealing with something evil and dark, utilize your spirituality. You rely on your faith, whatever measure of your faith, whatever practices your faith includes, utilize those. They become powerful with your faith. So anyway, that's it for me. I hope you guys will come back on Friday night. I'll be back. I believe Sheldon will be here with me, and we'll dive back into it. So until then, I'm going to be on Rob's show in the morning around 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, 1 Eastern. So if you want to hang out with Tex and Rob and I tomorrow morning, that's always an option. So keep that in mind. Watch your calendars, whatever. But I'm going to go finish working on this computer hopefully tonight so I can have it ready for Friday. Cross your fingers. We're going to get there. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it. I'll see you guys later. I like it. I like what you did there, Al. Take care. All right, that's it. Love you too, Raspberries. Thank you so much. Thought Sheldon was my brother, not my son. Oh, God bless you, BJ. I love you more now. That's it. You just made a favorite persons list. He's my oldest son. He's just, I'm just really immature, so it doesn't look like I'm his father. All right, that's it. Good night, everybody. Remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And I will see you next time, which is Friday night, right here on the Paranormal Portal. But tune in tomorrow morning. Check out Bigfoot Rob's show on YouTube. I'll be there. So if you want to be, you can be too. And definitely check out Mercedes' link that she posted. Brent is on BMR's show tomorrow. I am. Check out Mercedes' link that she posted. I was on her show last night and had a good time. So check it out. If you want to see me being interviewed, that's what it looks like. All right. Good night, everybody. Rolling the credits. That's it. I'm out of here. Oh, I pushed a button, didn't I? Let me fish for the scene here quick. There it is. Good night, everybody.